Good morning, people. This is going to be the recipe and how to make it portion of our Manly Meat Monday. So what I'm going to do is take 1.5 pounds of ground pork from my farmer friend and 3 pounds of ground beef. And then I'm going to add spices of dehydrated onion. And I like dehydrated onions because it actually absorbs some of the moisture that kind of comes from the cooking process and keeps your meatloaf from getting runny. And I use my organic ketchup. Kirkland is a great brand of California garlic, and Wober's hot and sweet mustards. I like Morton kosher salt. It gives great flavor. And then I add a little bit of half and half, organic no doubt, if you can get it, into 3 organic eggs from my farmer buddy. And I'm gonna whip those up. Now, and then I'm gonna take my combination of those sauces and spices, stir that up. Put that in the sink. Now, I've mentioned it a couple times. I got a buddy who is a farmer in Lake City, which is nearly 100 miles away from me. We established a relationship, and that's a good thing for him, good thing for me. This way, I can buy my meat directly from the source. It's fresher, and it doesn't have a bunch of intermediaries stepping on it. And so if we have anything near what they're talking about on the news, which I hardly believe them anyway, but this is something that might actually be true, that we're going to go through a food crisis. So you want to have a line on getting your essential necessities. I am, of course, a carnivore, and I eat fruit and occasionally greens and those things. Whatever I can grow in the backyard, I'm growing there, and we'll show you that another day. I got blackberries, mulberries, papaya, and kiwi. I've got a lime tree, a lemon tree, and an avocado. I grow greens, beets, and a few other things. I got all the herbs growing as well. I like cilantro, which is like a strong version of cilantro. I've got sage, Greek oregano, and mint and spearmint. I like those for different things. Okay, so I've got my meat laying in here with the spice. I'm gonna take my egg yolks, pour them in there, and then proceed to mash this all together. Now, why do I wear gloves? Well, I think you stick your hand in here for 5 minutes, you'll understand why. It can be a gooey process here. So, you know, this is a little smaller than I make typically, but I'm going away to Tampa on Wednesday, so I'm not going to need as much. I'm traveling for my new career as a mortgage banker. Still waiting for my license, so I cannot sell, market, or discuss rate, loan terms, or any specifics of the program. MLS number 1237094. So that being disclosed, and believe me, they are tight on it, which is good because that industry needed to be cleaned up. Now, I wish they would take that sort of competence and rigor and apply it to, say, Congress, city councils. You know, it'd be good to have a little accountability in just about everything. I mean, capitalism definitely works, but it's got to be a reasonable, fair, and well-informed playing field. I don't want to go too down that rabbit hole, but where those have a distinct advantage by government power and an inability to be prosecuted for their crimes while everyone else has to abide by rules, it's not a fair system. Okay, I'm going to add about half of my sauce mix in here. Stir it around. Now, Later on today, I'm going to pull up those studies. My internet's not working that well. Being a former city government employee, they didn't pay a whole lot. And I'm just getting started with the new one. So I got to upgrade my lines, all that things. I have a laptop from 2011. The company's getting me a new one. I'm picking that up Thursday. But you know what? The way Windows changes, it's just like, it's a different century. And I have an iPhone 6S, which is like a stone tablet to my kids, who both have the bleeding edge. So anyway, we'll go over that story. My kids are very well off. I did pretty well early in my life and set them up because somehow I instinctively knew I was going to screw it up. Didn't mean to, but I did. Anyway, it's all good. Happier man now than I've ever been in many, many ways. Okay, so we got that nice and uniform mixed up. Now, if you notice, I didn't use bread. Again, I try to keep my carbs to an absolute minimum. This really works for me. I have consistent energy. I don't get hungry throughout the day. I don't crave sweets. And I sleep really well most of the time. And I exercise more than most people, particularly those my age. Now, that's not a qualifier for an excuse. I could certainly do better, and I plan on doing that. But I can say that my diet is a big component. Look, I went through the whole carb thing, and I was a fruitarian for 9 months or so. I did the vegan thing. That didn't work at all. Heavy on the veggie, and then the lacto-ovo, pescatarian. And what works for me, based on, I believe my genetic ancestry, which was Russian, English, German, Scottish, that meat is what we like to eat, and that's makes a lot of sense. See, the cow is the intermediary between the energy of the earth and the sun into the plant. That can't be converted directly by the human body. Some say it can, but the evidence that I've seen, and again, based on the sample size of a couple of dozen people, that they seem to construct fairly well. It wasn't done by a food or a drug company, so I give it a little notch higher in possible credibility, but I read through it. Their math was actually correct because I was quite good at statistics and decision sciences, so that's always a thing. Footnote there, if you have any skills in mapping out statistics or sampling methods or data presentation, take a look at the UN's Global Environmental Forum, or whatever they call them, on their climate change data. It is something that a 8th grader would fail if he tried to present averages of averages of averages of opinions and call that data. So anyway, we definitely need to take good care of our Earth because it's the one we got, but the whole climate change agenda is questionable. Certainly the way the data is presented. Let me just say that on the fact. The data is not presented in a way that a graduate student, like myself, would be able to pass the course. And I was an A student in quantitative methods, which is what they call it, at Edinburgh University, which is one of the top 4 in Europe. And I'll tell you what, the data is so bogus. Anyway, if there's enough interest, I'll go over it. It would be kind of dull and boring, but I could probably make it short and sweet. But our purpose today is to make one of these beauties. Now, this is going to be 3 days of food. Okay, I'm going to have it for lunch and dinner, and pretty much it exclusively. I may add some cheese to it. Usually don't. I just like to set it on my grill outside, which I have a a flat top grill and a charcoal grill and a smoker out there, but generally on the flat top, set it out there, kind of brown it on both sides, heat it up, pop it on a plate, grab my fork, and enjoy profusely. Okay, folks, so I'm gonna stick this in, take off my blue gloves. It's already heated from cooking my bacon supply for the week, for the 3 days. Put it back on bake. 400 degrees, start, and it's not all the way cooled down yet. So I'm going to stick this in the oven based on its size. I'm going to check in about 12 minutes, and then we'll drop the temperature down to 350 for another 12, and then just turn off the heat and leave it in there until it totally cures. And it'll be moist and juicy, tasty, and done properly. Always want to have, sanitary concerns. So, folks, tune in later. We're going to go over that data on insulin resistance, muscle mass, and how the spiraling of aging kind of works. When one thing fails, it starts another thing to fail, which increases the rate of the failure of the first one, which triggers the second one to go at a greater rate, which triggers a third and a fourth and a fifth. And you notice, myself, I was competing in MMA until I was 53 years old. Amateur, but still got in the ring. Did okay. But in the last, essentially 9.5 years, I felt it, particularly when I hit the number 61. I just started feeling it. And part of it was, we'll go over that later. But anyway, what my goal is to help you get a lean, healthy, strong immune system. When you feel good, you're able to do more. You can give that gift of yourself to the world and begin making a better place. I think it was Gandhi that said, be the change you want to see. So that means it's incumbent upon all of us to act and feel our best. Now, we're human and we're not going to be able to do that all the time, but it is through a strenuous, ongoing enjoyment of life. I just heard this from Jocko Willink this morning. Worn down isn't broken. Frustration isn't failure. Actually, there's a victories if you keep on going. Jocko is a Navy SEAL, one of the greatest ones, author, entrepreneur, and just all around fine human being. He says, when you focus on the target, it can get blurry. So focus on the front sight because it's right in front of you. Line it up that way. And I know today, we've been psyop by, in early 2000, they had The Secret, where you sit on your ass in a chair and envision millions of dollars coming your way, and you don't have to do anything. The universe will open up and bestow its gifts, and giant piles of money and beautiful girls in big cars will all surround you. Well, how's that working for you? I tried it. Didn't work for me. Okay, we've been accustomed to, the 5 steps to greatness, the 3 hacks to unlimited attractiveness, or whatever. That's not how it works, people. You gotta just get up and do it every day. And that's really not that bad. Because I know that just this morning I was like, I could really use another hour of sleep. But then I said, then I won't get this done. And that's important to these people. And I might miss this, and I'll be lazier. So you get up and you do it, and I got up, got my coffee, and I'm getting it done. And I feel good about it, sharing it with you. Talk to you later.